Welcome, everyone, to the Aging and Spirituality podcast. We are so happy to see you. Both of us. We love doing this. We love connecting with you. We love hearing from you. So today's a little bit of a different script. I'm going to be talking about a subject that maybe you're experiencing, maybe you've experienced before. It's about the dark night of the soul. And we're going to do it in a more of a storytelling kind of format. So I want you to just get relaxed and just get in a place where you can be not thinking about anything else, just being able to deeply listen to the ideas that I'm going to put out there about what the dark soul might feel like. Dark night of the soul might feel like for you. And so for those that it resonates with, it might help you understand what's actually going on in your spiritual journey. So, and of course, Chris is going to chime in if I say something that's not correct. She's the teacher in terms of these kinds of spiritual subjects. So after, if you have questions, you can let us know, and we would be happy to answer them. So it's not an uncommon theme, the Dark Night of the Soul. You hear about it all the time, but I'm going to guess that there's a bunch of you that don't have a clue what it really means, because it's you have to have studied under a teacher or been with somebody that really understands what the Dark Night of the Soul is. So, okay, so here we go. There are seasons in life when the light that once guided us begins to dim. The prayers might feel hollow. The routines that once brought joy now feel mechanical. And the meaning we used to cling to starts to fade. After 60, this transition can be especially disorienting because weren't we supposed to have it all figured out by now? I mean, how many times have you thought that? We're supposed to have it all figured out by now, but if we haven't had a spiritual journey up until this point, you're a baby. You're brand new.
Mhm.
So, sorry, you do not disturb. So, maybe you've actually felt that disorientation,
Mhm.
that it's a quiet ache, kind of a low hum beneath your days. You wake up and you wonder, is that all there is? Is this all there is to life? So you have all these big questions that you don't have answers to, and you don't really know how to get them. Um, and if that's how you're feeling, we want you to know that you are not broken.
Mhm. It's common.
You may simply be entering what mystics call the dark night of the soul. So we're going to talk about what that actually means. Mystics across traditions, the Christian, Sufi, Buddhist, Hindu, even modern contemplatives describe the dark night of the soul not as a punishment or a pathology, but as a purification.
Hmm.
It's the soul's passage from surface level attachment to deep union with the divine, however one defines the divine. I'm going to say that part again because that's the really critical part. The soul's passage from surface level attachment to deep union with the divine.
Hmm.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
Yes, it
I mean,
does.
I
It's
know
a
it sounds
little
amazing to
a
me. Let's go.
transition, a little disorientation.
Sounds amazing. Let's go. Let's do it. So, okay, it's the point in spiritual growth when the old ways of knowing, believing, and feeling God stop working
Mhm.
because the soul is being weaned from sensory faith and led toward direct knowing. Soul is being weaned from sensory, feel, touch, see, all of those things, having faith in those things toward a direct knowing of God on a personal level. So you can grasp the gravity of this particular transition, what it can mean, to your life. The dark night of the soul is when everything that once gave you meaning is taken away, not to destroy you, but to make room for what is ultimately real. Wow. Yikes. I mean, I read this again and I was so excited about it, which is why I wanted to do this talk because I feel like that's how I feel every day. You know,
Yeah.
like I want that reality to become all of my being, all every part of my day, you know? The dark night of the soul is when everything that once gave you meaning is taken away, not to destroy you, but to make room for what is ultimately real.
Hmm.
And that's really what Chris and I are talking about when we always say, connect inside every day and find out what is real, because that's ever changing.
Yeah, and there's that presence within us, and we get so lost in our thoughts and our feelings,
Yes.
we ignore it.
Yes.
And the dark night of the soul is kind of like somebody going, "Wake up!"
Yeah. And in that way, it's actually not dark. It's bringing in the light. It's
Yeah,
bringing in, this
yeah,
is the way you go
yeah.
when your thoughts are out of control, when your emotions are out of control and you can't make any sense out of the world, right? This is how you go inside,
Mhm.
connect again, let spirit come through and show you what is happening at that any given moment. So today we're going to explore what it means to really enter into that night in the later chapters of our life when faith feels dry, maybe, and meaning kind of slips away, meaning as we have known it up until now. And we're going to talk about people like John of the Cross, Teresa and Ávila, Rumi. These are all people that have talked about the dark night of the soul. They're three ancient voices, but they remind us that the dark is not a place of punishment, but a sacred passage toward union. So again, let's just get still and listen to these ideas because they're really, really cool.
Just in terms of that dark night, let me mention,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
of course.
mentioned this in other sessions, that I had a time in my life when it seemed like everything was falling apart, you know.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And I was talking to our teacher in the Guru, Ramakrishnananda, and uh, he said to me, actually, he said, wanted to talk to me, and he said, your perception is the world is falling apart around you. He said, but what's really happening is your energy is involuting. He said, it's rushing into the soul. So just let the world fall apart. And
That
when I was there with him, I understood, and I walked outside, and I was like, but, but with
that's so funny because I've heard you tell that story many times, and every time it has the same response inside of me, like, wow, yeah, of course. Like
yeah,
that makes so much sense. It's involuting, but it's not familiar and it's not
no,
stuff that,
no.
who tells you about this stuff? You
And
don't know.
everything was changing.
Yes,
And
everything.
that with hindsight, I mean, after I got through the disorientation and some of the emotional stuff, wow. I mean, it was huge in terms of
Yes.
growth. Huge.
Yeah. But that was your shift, your passage into,
Yeah.
you know, what we're
Yeah.
talking about right here.
Right.
So, so the listener, what she's talking about was a really tough time in her life when she was going through some really difficult places. And that's usually what the dark side of this
Mhm.
dark night of the soul is associated with, like really dark, times, tough times. And sometimes it can be, it doesn't necessarily have to be, right? But
Mhm.
it was in that case, and you came out of it an entirely different person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So just talking about the terrain of the dark night of the soul, the Spanish mystic John of the Cross once wrote, to reach satisfaction in all things, desire satisfaction in nothing.
Mhm.
So, dark night of the soul is to reach satisfaction in all things, desire satisfaction in nothing. He was describing that strange kind of painful space where everything that used to feel holy stops working. The rituals, the prayers, the roles, they all seem like they're stripped away. And yet the soul is still alive. It's simply shedding its scaffolding,
Mhm.
like a snake outgrowing its skin.
Yeah.
But for people who are have been deeply religious and maybe are very much readers of scripture and follow particular practices every day, this can be a particularly tough passage.
Yeah.
Letting go of those things, and all of a sudden they're not making sense like they used to make sense, and everything changes, and it's like, whoa, 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 what is going on? Like falling off a cliff, like the cliff is falling out from under me. kind of like that, having the rug dragged out from under you. This is what happens often in our 60s and 70s. When you think about it, we are so busy in the outer world with jobs and parenting and health and identity. Everything begins to shift because we're losing our titles and our routines and sometimes even our sense of importance, but underneath something vast and unnameable is stirring and is coming up for us. Everybody experiences it. It's the
Mhm.
reason we do this podcast. So think of a tree in the winter, to the untrained eye, it looks dead,
Yeah.
brittle, bare, and forgotten, right? But underground, unseen, it's gathering strength. It's preparing for a deeper spring. That's what the dark night is, a sacred wintering of the soul. Isn't that a beautiful way to think of it?
Beautiful way to think of it because people are afraid of it because it's unknown. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
And it feels big. Yeah.
it is big.
It is big.
Things are changing, but that change is a good change.
Yes, and doing this talk, you can recognize it and invite it in and not be so nervous because you'll have a better sense of what it is, right? So you can just listen to this and get a sense of what it really means. I mean, if you're in that space now, just take heart. You are not lost. You are resting in the deep soil of becoming. To stay with the analogy of the tree, you're resting in the deep soil of becoming. So, okay, so then another person that I love, and I love this particular saint. So when you're um talking about people that have been through this, we're going, if we're on a spiritual journey and we're going through this stuff, we're thinking we're the first. It's like the kids that we raise, right? You watch them and you sometimes you look at them and you go, do they really think I haven't been there? Like what? They think that they're learning it for the first time and they know it for the first time and they know freaking everything, right? And we're looking at them going, we've been there. Like, I know that's hard for you to relate to, but it's true with spiritual greats as well. Like Teresa of Ávila was
Yeah,
one of history's greatest mystics.
yeah.
Wrote one of long seasons where she felt abandoned by. She wrote of that she felt abandoned by the beloved. This was her dark night of the soul, how she described it. She said her prayers felt like words were bouncing off a ceiling.
Mm,
And yet, in that emptiness, something extraordinary happened. She began to experience God not as an emotion, but as a quiet, unshakable presence. Doesn't that give you the shivers?
yes,
The shivers.
does. Yeah.
I know. I feel like I'm right there with her. Like, that's
Oh
crazy.
boy. Mm,
And Rumi, the Sufi poet, called this the necessary burning. He wrote, the wound is the place where the light enters you. Sometimes our faith must be burned clean of certainty before it can become true intimacy. So, this is kind of a story I was going to just mention. This woman that I once know, she used to feel like God, used to feel God every morning when she prayed, but then one day, nothing, just silence. Like I thought I'd done something wrong.
mhm,
I don't know if you've heard that before. I've heard a number of people say that.
mhm.
But months later, while sitting in her garden, she said she suddenly realized the silence wasn't absence, it was an invitation,
Yeah.
a deeper kind of listening.
Yeah, see, that's what we think. We think silence is nothing, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's where,
Like
often-
God's ignoring us.
yeah, but that's
No?
often where he comes through, where
Yeah.
his presence comes through.
That's where somebody who's been on the journey says, go further,
Yeah,
go further. How many times have we been told that?
yeah,
Go further, keep going. And that never ends, by the way.
yeah.
We're still
Oh,
doing that.
there's no ending.
Yeah. So that's a great description of the paradox of the dark night. When the old God disappears,
Mhm.
the real one begins to emerge, not out there, but within. So if your faith feels dry, perhaps the roots are just reaching for deeper water. That's an interesting idea.
Mhm.
So the dark night cannot be fixed. It can be only be lived gently and patiently and lovingly. but there are ways to rest inside of it. Here are three practices that can help you stay close to your soul. Practice presence. No grand meditation needed. Because we're always telling you to meditate.
Right.
No, no grand meditation needed for this. Just sit quietly. Feel your breath moving in and out your body. Notice the stillness between the breaths. That stillness is sacred. Don't chase enlightenment, simply befriend the silence.
Mm.
It's pretty, right?
Beautiful.
I know, I love that one. Okay, here's another one. Be grateful for small things. When the grand meaning fades, the small moments become holy. A cup of tea, sunlight across the floor, a phone call with someone you love.
Mm.
Let the simple moments remind you life is still here, whispering, I have not left you. Isn't that beautiful?
So beautiful.
I know this stuff gives me the
Beautiful.
shivers.
Yeah.
And then the journal of release. When you write, ask your soul gentle questions. When you're
Mm.
writing in your journal, what am I still trying to control? What wants to be let go of? Then just close your journal and breathe. No answers required. Just leave space for something to come.
Yeah.
Some people also find comfort in walking and moving through nature as a form of prayer. It's always a beautiful way to do it. Go
Mm.
out and hug trees. It's one of the things I love to do. And each step that you take, that we just talked about, those three practices, they're a reminder that the earth still holds you in its arms.
Mm-hmm.
Big, glorious, unending hug.
And I like that point about what needs to be let go of.
Yes.
I mean, you have to be quiet to know that. You
And
have
what's
to have that moment
I
of
know. And
silence.
there's always a stinking answer. Like you think you think that would stop. There's
I
always
think
something.
I've let go of enough stuff. Yeah.
But you're living every day,
Yep.
and stuff accumulates.
Stuff
So
accumulates.
it's just a
Yeah, it
good a
does.
good practice to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is what needs to be let go of and what am I still trying to control? I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine. I don't know if I can say that. Finally getting out of that, having to control everything. That's taken many, many years. Believe me, listeners, that was a big one for me. So, the dawn within the dark. The dark night is not a punishment, it's a pruning, a clearing of what no longer serves the soul's maturity.
Mm-hmm.
The soul's maturity, you're starting to realize what it means to be a mature soul. In time, light will return, but it will be softer and wiser and less about belief and more about belonging.
Mm-hmm.
You're not meant to emerge the same, you are meant to emerge real.
And you're
Good.
welcome.
Isn't
You're
that beautiful?
welcome after a while.
Yeah. So tonight, listeners, if the silence feels heavy, try this small prayer. This is a feeler. May I trust the night. May I rest in its mystery. And may I remember, even here, even now, I am being reshaped by love. Isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. So pretty. So really the tradition of the dark night of the soul is the dying of the false self, what we call the ego. That thing we've been trying to figure out what it is for
Yeah.
50 years. What the hell is that little thing? What is that little three-letter word? The dying of the false self, the realizing of the real self, the true self, the part of us that insists on understanding, achieving, and controlling our relationship with the divine. That's the ego. It's not the loss of faith, but the maturing of it. The dark night of the soul is the maturing of faith, where faith once depended on feelings and symbols, or maybe getting answers from God. It now learns to rest in mystery and trust and love without condition.
Without,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Where faith once depended on feelings, symbols, or answers, it now learns to rest in mystery, trust, and loving without condition.
Mm, yeah.
As you breathe, imagine roots spreading quietly beneath you, strong and steady, reaching toward unseen light. If this episode touched your heart, something inside of you, join us in the Aging and Spirituality community on YouTube. Please like and subscribe and share so more people can hear these kinds of talks. This is where we keep exploring the beauty and the wisdom that is there in later life for us to enjoy. Don't think for
And,
a second that it's over. This is
and
a
if you're
whole,
going through a dark night of the soul, you're not alone.
yes,
Let us know. Maybe we can give you some support.
we can absolutely hold space for you
Yeah,
and help you through an incredibly sacred time in
yeah,
your life.
yeah.
If you have questions, just put them in there. Thank you for joining us. Again, we were excited about this one. We
We
love
are.
to be with you. It's so beautiful. That's a really sacred topic and really poignant and beautiful. So take it into the weekend. Have a beautiful weekend time, and we will see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.